Mark's uncle had been the family's quiet anchor. Whenever life got hard, he was the one people turned to, steady, generous with his time, always ready with a solution. So when he passed away, the loss hit hard. 2 weeks later, the family gathered at the notary's office, and the mood in that room had nothing to do with money. It was grief, plain and heavy. But when Mark heard what his uncle had left him, sorrow gave way to confusion. Out of everything, his uncle had chosen to leave him the old truck, the one he'd kept locked away in the barn for years, polished, cared for, but almost never driven. Mark had always wondered about that truck. Why guard something so closely if you never even used it? That question would soon have an answer he never saw coming. For now, though, Mark was just grateful. His own van was falling apart, and he made his living as a carpenter. A reliable truck, even a strange one, was exactly what he needed. His Aunt Marcia, still deep in mourning, walked him out to the barn herself. She pressed the keys into his hand and said something that stuck with him. "Take care of it." It meant more to him than you know, he promised he would, but the drive home was nothing like he expected. The truck drove heavy, sluggish, almost like it was hauling something far bigger than an empty bed. It struggled climbing hills and picked up speed going down, like gravity had a stronger grip on it than usual. At one red light, it actually started rolling backward. Mark barely stopped it in time. Shaken, he pulled into his driveway and popped the hood, checked the tires, walked around it twice. Nothing looked wrong. Engine ran fine. Tires were full. On the surface, it was just an old truck. Then his phone rang. It was his aunt. And the second he heard her voice, something felt off. She was whispering, tense, asking if he was alone before she said anything else. Then she told him there were strangers on her property, moving around near the barn like they were looking for something. "What's going on? Why are you whispering?" Mark asked, already on edge. She didn't have time to explain much, just that she was scared that she didn't recognize them and that they seemed to be searching for something specific. Mark's instinct kicked in immediately. "I'm coming, Aunt Marcia. I'll take Uncle's truck and be there in 15 minutes. But her response caught him off guard. She begged him not to bring it. "Keep it hidden?" she whispered. "They're not here for me. They're here for that truck. I heard them say it myself." Mark looked at the vehicle sitting in his driveway, completely lost. Why would anyone want this old thing? She didn't know either, only that whoever these men were, they wanted it badly. Then her voice dropped even lower. They were getting closer to where she was hiding. "I have to go," she breathed. "Meet me at the cafe on 5th Street. Walk there. Don't drive the truck." And Mark tried to find a handle somewhere on it. They kept talking about a handle. The call cut off, and Mark stood there holding his phone, staring at a truck that suddenly felt like a stranger sitting in his yard. He wasted no time. He pushed the truck to the far corner of his property, out of sight, and started searching. Nothing on the inside gave him a clue. Nothing on the outside either. Until, after nearly 30 minutes of running his hands along every seam and edge, he felt it. A small latch, tucked just under the rear bumper, almost invisible unless you were looking for it. He pressed it. The entire truck bed lifted like a lid, and Mark froze, staring down into a compartment that had no business being there. He let out a slow, stunned breath.
"What is this?"
Reaching in, his hands found rows and rows of small wooden boxes, the kind that used to hold long fireplace matches. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. "There's no way this is normal," he muttered, noting how old and worn they looked. He picked one up expecting exactly what the label promised, matches. Instead, nestled inside a velvet-lined case was a diamond. He opened another. More stones. Another, a gold necklace, heavy and ornate. Box after box, each one hiding something far more valuable than the last. His hands were shaking now. What had started as confusion had turned into real fear. Every instinct told him to close it all up and walk away, but his aunt was in danger, and he couldn't just leave her. He carefully returned everything to its hiding place and sealed the bed shut. Following her instructions, he waited, then made his way to the cafe on foot. 40 minutes later, he spotted her in a back booth, staring blankly out the window. He sat down across from her, his voice barely steady. "Aunt Marcia, what is happening? Did you find it?" she asked. "The handle?" He nodded. Then he leaned in. "Why is there a hidden compartment full of jewelry in Uncle's truck? Who were those men?" Her expression tightened. That truck sat locked in the barn for over 20 years. He never let anyone near it. Now I understand why. Mark's mind jumped straight to the worst conclusion. Is it stolen? Was Uncle involved in something? "Nobody has that much jewelry without a reason, Aunt Marcia." "It's complicated," she said quietly. Your uncle never stole a single thing, but every piece under that truck bed was stolen a long time ago, and the men who showed up today were the ones who stole it. Mark didn't understand. Just hours ago, she'd known nothing about any of this. How do you know all this now? I didn't. Not until today, she admitted. After those men left, I went looking for answers. I found his old journal buried in a box in our closet. He wrote everything down. She took a breath and continued. 20-some years ago, 4 men showed up here right after pulling off a robbery. They'd hidden everything under the bed of their truck, but police were closing in. Your uncle was out in the barn when they burst in and threatened him. They forced him to hide the truck until it was safe to come back for it. He must have been terrified, she said, and it seems they were never able to sell it off safely because that truck sat untouched for 2 decades. The moment they learned he'd passed, they came back for what they left behind. Mark sat back, stunned, but something in him refused to let this stain his uncle's memory. We have to do something. We can't let you live like this, and we need to clear his name. Together, they went straight to the police station and laid out the entire story. The journal, the men, the hidden compartment. Between their account and the evidence in the journal, the officers were convinced. We're going to need a plan to catch them, one detective said. After talking it over, they came back with an idea neither Mark nor Marcia loved. Use the truck as bait. Mark would drive it around town in plain sight for a few days, then bring it back to the barn each night where police would be waiting. It was risky, but it was the only way to finally end this. For 3 nights, Mark parked that truck in the barn while officers stayed hidden in the shadows. On the 3rd night, the men came back, walking straight toward the barn like they owned it. The moment they reached the truck, officers moved in from every direction. 10 of them, maybe more. After more than 20 years, it was finally over. The thieves were caught. Marcia could finally breathe easy again, and her husband's name was cleared for good. As for Mark, he kept the truck, no more secrets hidden underneath, no more danger tied to it. Just an old pickup, finally free of its past.